Hi guys, this is Harris Sultan, the ex-Muslim atheist, and today I am with a guy who's been so close to me. He's traveled the world so many times, spoken to so many ex-Muslims all around the world, but despite of the fact that he's an Australian, I live in Australia, this is the first time we are meeting, but better late than never, Imam. How are you?
Good, thank you very much for having me.
I am so proud and honored to have you, and there's so many questions that have been raging through my head. And also there is a book there's a book called The Tragedy of Islam, Imam Tawhidi's book. I've read it twice. Today my flight got delayed and I had to wait at the airport for about 7 hours. And then I read it again and I'm going to ask a few questions from it. Everyone should check it out. It's an amazing, wonderful book and you will learn a lot of things. I mean, you would think that someone like me who's also written a book and made tons of videos and given so many talks about Islam, there's always something to learn. And Imam has given some wonderful insight into how he's seen the history of Islam, and I'm sure he's got tons more to add. So, Imam, first of all, I'm going to start straight off the bat some really troubling questions that I'm sure you've heard it a lot, and a lot of my people would want to hear that too. It seems to a lot of people, they say that you're appeasing the right wing, the conservative of the West. And there's a very funny tweet that Imam has made in the past. I'd rather be Uncle Tom than Uncle Bob. So his Twitter, if you don't follow him on Twitter, make sure you do follow him on Twitter. It's hilarious and it's wonderful. So how do you respond to those people who say that you're just appeasing the right wing? There's you never find anything remotely good in the left wing.
Firstly, I'm a conservative. I'm not a right wing. And the right wing don't like me.
Yeah, that's far right that don't like you.
The right wing in general, when they see me with Pauline Hanson, they're like, oh, we're not going to vote for her again. You know, like, yes, maybe some do,
Right.
but the right wing ideology doesn't sit with my view. I'm a conservative. I believe in small government. I believe in lower taxes. I believe in strong borders. I believe in strong national security. And that's just common sense to me. I believe that, abortion should have its limits. I have conservative views. And views change over time. And I do have some very leftist views when it comes to healthcare. You know, we live in Australia where, for I think 2 decades, our families were on welfare, and many Australians are.
Universal healthcare as well?
Yeah, I mean, that's not the conservative policy. That's a leftist, I think that comes from a more leftist viewpoint. So I don't have a problem with that. I believe in right to education. I believe in right to healthcare. So I do have views from both sides, and I get along with everyone. But politically, I don't like the leftist ideology, not the leftists, the people. I got along very well with the former Prime Minister, Bob Hawke. Me and him used to eat falafel. There are pictures together. He was from the Labour Party.
He was a big beer drinker too.
Yeah, I don't drink, but me and him, we used to eat falafel. I don't have a problem. And he's a Labour. So I don't have any issues with the leftists. I just have a problem when they're getting too close to the extremist Muslims and denying the fact that we have an Islamic extremism problem. That's it.
I really like you've said it before that all the extremist Muslims would vote for Hillary.
Yeah, they don't vote Trump.
All the extremist Muslims here would vote for Labour.
Green.
Or Green, yeah, probably worse.
They don't vote for liberals,
liberals.
Conservatives, Pauline Hanson. They don't vote for these people.
I can understand not voting for Pauline Hanson because they think, okay, she's an Islamophobe. But even Liberal Party, which is, I mean, Australian Labour and Liberal are quite centrist parties, those who don't know.
If I may interrupt you, many Muslims vote for Pauline Hanson.
Why?
Why? Because she's going after the extremists.
Right.
I know Pauline. She's a friend, and I voted for her in the last election.
Right. So you're so I'm trying to understand you. So you're saying basically it's the extremist Muslims that don't vote, but plenty of Muslims will vote anyway, whatever they see fit.
Muslims who are not extremist don't worry about any of these issues. I find them, when I sit with them, they mention parties I've never heard of.
Right.
So it's not because they don't have an agenda. You know, the extremist Muslim thinks in 100 years from now how he could change the course of the nation. A politician thinks in 4-year, 8-year terms. And the politician wants the vote, the Islamic extremist wants the position, wants to influence curriculums, wants to influence government policy. And that's where they meet, so they vote for each other.
Right. So now I want to move on to the. So hang on, before I go to that. So what do you think? How many extremist Muslims are? Because a lot of people who don't like you, they say Imam Tawhidi is always going after Muslims, and he just wants to paint all Muslims with the same, which is kind of the same accusation we get as well. But I just want to focus that on you. That you're obviously here saying that there's so many ordinary Muslims who vote for as per the policies. They don't have any agenda.
Yeah, I don't respect those people because they never give me an example. So they say that I'm painting all Muslims as extremists. I'm only painting the extremists as extremists. So ISIS, Al-Qaeda, Hizb ut-Tahrir. So unless they're... let's get to this. First they say ISIS has nothing to do with Islam.
Yeah, that's a lie.
Then when I criticize ISIS and their ideology, they say you're attacking Islam.
Right.
So what do? You make up your mind, then come to me. But for now you're confused, and don't confuse us with you, yeah? Make up your mind. You can't tell me extremists have nothing to do with Islam when they conduct terrorist attacks. You don't let me condemn. You don't ask me to condemn because you say nothing to do with you. You don't need to condemn. Nothing to do with you. So you free me from that responsibility. But when I choose to criticize, you blame it on me. No, I think those people, they don't understand what they're talking about. And I have no respect for these people, to be honest with you. People who would do anything to side with the extremists and to weaken our argument against violence, I don't bother with those people. So they can say what they like.
Right. So now I want to move to ex-Muslims, my favorite topic. So the ex-Muslims, what do you think? I mean, why do you think there's any future of removing the stigma or more acceptance of ex-Muslims by first maybe by their families and then maybe by the states? There are 13 states, or actually 12 states where it's punishable by death, and 13-month my own country, Pakistan, unfortunately always there for bad reasons. For where blasphemy, it is painted as blasphemy, and then therefore you can be killed. Although it's not carried out, it is carried out in Saudi Arabia, and I believe sometimes in Iran as well. But what do you think? Where do you think? What does Islam say, in your opinion? Apostates should be killed or not killed?
Do you want an honest answer?
Yes.
You're not going to be able to influence families because the family structure is there to influence you and to bring you back. You're not going to be able to change governments because they would not be there if they didn't do what they did.
But can't they go through evolution?
Look at Khamenei. Does his face look like it's going to go through an evolution?
But there are a lot of people protesting in Iran, so they can overthrow the government, and the next government might come. That
would be a revolution.
Right.
Not an evolution. Evolution means the idiot stays,
right,
but he changes his attitude. A revolution is to remove the idiot from office.
Right. Well, I would say on a grander scale, there would still be an evolution of the society, that they're now allowed or public forced a change in it. We're going into linguistics and that, but like for example in Iraq, I mean, your family, you suffered a lot in Iraq under Saddam Hussein, and now obviously there's a new government, a new setup in place, and you've got a good relationship.
They don't kill ex-Muslims in Iraq.
Yeah, I know. You've got a good relationship with them, so that's what I'm saying.
Because it's not an Islamic government.
Yeah, that's right. So I'm saying that is, although it was influenced by United States invasion, but we kind of looks like it is evolving or going in the right direction. We don't know where it would end up, but at this point all the indicators look good. It's not an Islamic kind of state or extremist Islamic state, and it's not a dictatorship. It is a democracy.
It's not a democracy.
But so to speak, I mean, they're trying to make it a democracy, aren't they?
Yeah, it's a failed socialist inheritance from Saddam, who was a socialist. The Ba'ath Party was a socialist party. Look, I don't believe that Islamic governments will change, and I don't believe Iraq is heading in the right direction, and I don't believe our families will, have it easy on ex-Muslims, and I don't believe that anything is going to change.
Very pessimistic.
In the next decade.
So what do we do? So in the next decade. So you mean after a decade it'll be fine?
Yeah, I think it'll take another decade. But it all depends on what ex-Muslims do in this decade. Like, for example, Tawhidi, me, when I began speaking openly around April 2017, when I began making controversial statements. 2017.
I think it was 2015 when you had a sermon and then we were featured on Channel 7. Somebody punched you in the face as well.
No, that was 17.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah, I've only...
Feels like it's been going on forever.
Yeah. No, only 2017. And I said to myself, what can I do to really break through and skyrocket my message? So I took to social media and I began speaking. It all depends on how you play it. And by the way, Imam Tawhidi is only one, like for a year and a half, I'm only doing what I'm doing alone. And look, I can take on ambassadors and governments in the Middle East.
Congresswomen too?
Like, I don't mind. I will go after the extremists alone because I can.
Right. So
it all depends on how you play it. You're a big community. If you coordinate, and even within you, some of you don't like each other.
Well, that I guess as it gets bigger and bigger, that's bound to happen, and people are not going to like each other.
And you don't believe in each other.
Well,
so I admire Yasmin Mohammed.
Yeah.
Do you know Yasmin?
Yeah. Obviously, yeah.
Yeah, Yasmin is a wonderful person. Some other ex-Muslims, this is going back 2017, 18. They used to come to me and say, don't retweet her, don't do this. So it's...
well, that's obviously that's sad. I mean, I've got a great relationship with Yasmin. She wrote an endorsement for my book. It's actually on the front cover.
Hello, Yasmin. She's a wonderful person.
Yeah, she's lovely. And again, she wrote a wonderful book too. I've ordered it. Hasn't arrived yet. There's been a few issues with Amazon forbidding it and all of these problems, which happens. Look, I mean, whichever community, I mean, bigger it gets, more disputes are we going to have, as we can learn from the early Islamic history and Omars and Abu Bakrs, they're all conspiring against who gets the throne. So, look, I get your point, and hopefully more we grow, better it would become. And so you do see, I mean, I'm a very optimistic person in that regard. I mean, I do see a lot of good stories coming out from the Muslim families and the ex-Muslims. When Maryam Namazi started 10, 11, well, about now 12, 13 years ago, it was like groundbreaking. She was only one woman just standing there. And there were a couple of other ex-Muslims who wouldn't like to come to camera. And now there's just so many of us. And that is encouraging the next generation of people to actually come out, or at least come to their family. So I see that's going to keep getting bigger and bigger as the time goes by, which is the evolution. I would assume that the Muslim world or the community, the parents, the scholars, they will respond to some extent. Otherwise, it's just, I mean, it's just going to be a massive confrontation and not going to be good for anyone.
I'll be interested to see how society develops. I mean, to me, when I first made my controversial statements, they were political, like immigration. And you never see me attack the Prophet or the Quran or anything like that. So it was mainly political. And I'm an Orthodox Shia Muslim, I say this again. And my message really didn't get attacked by them because I'm not doing anything wrong. I mean, they do get really angry when I'm taking pictures with female politicians. This is the clerics. And I don't know if they're just jealous or they're really religious, because I know half of them are hypocrites. So I don't know. I don't know.
There's there's a few people that I was reading. The people who attacked you, you didn't name them for some reason. There was another person. I believe you were in Iran. You didn't name him. It's the one that you got arrested and interrogated.
Yes.
Why did I just want to know when I was reading that? Why did you not? You just mentioned by initials.
Yeah.
Why did you not name him? I mean, now
because I want to sue him.
But that was so long ago. Do you think it would still work?
Yes, of course.
Right. Okay.
I'm going to sue him, and I'm going to sue the Iranian government.
But where are you going to do it? In international court?
I'll do it. I'm already planning it. I just have a few things, but I do have a case against the regime for that very case.
Right.
And I'm not going to name him because I don't want him to take off.
Right. And I noticed that you so a similar thing happened here, and the three imams, it was meant to be. I remember actually I saw the tweet, or it was a Facebook post back in those days.
It was a video.
Yeah, you haven't released that apparently, the audio.
No, it has by Today Tonight, Channel 7.
No, not the one on the street. The way you were meant
And
to
I was
go and meet.
attacked.
No, you were meant to go and meet these three scholars.
Muslim leaders.
Yes.
And they ambushed me.
Yes.
Yes, Channel 7.
Oh, right.
They done a.
So in your book, you said that you haven't released it. You would release it at the proper time.
I gave it to Channel 7.
Right.
They released my audio, not their words.
Right.
No, I will release it later on.
Right.
You know, these guys, these Muslim leaders who attacked me physically, they are currently, they're taking off. So their communities are taking off, and they're taking off. A plane, when it falls from a very high place, it does more damage.
Yeah.
So I'm waiting for these fanatics to reach a very high place, and then when I strike, it'll be worth it.
Right. It's like, I mean, okay.
So now I don't want to. They're nobody now.
Yeah.
They're nobody. If I expose them, like when I exposed Zayd al-Salami, the Daily Mail Imam who took pictures of women in the airport and sent it on WhatsApp.
Yeah.
You know, I had those pictures for 1 year.
Right.
I didn't do anything. I waited for him to start teaching in the mosque and university and this and that, and then I released them.
Are you a fan of Harvey Specter? Have you ever watched a TV show called Suits?
No.
Okay, so in the Suits, those who don't know, those who do know, probably you'd like to know this. It's a New York-based law firm, and where these lawyers, wonderful lawyers, top-class lawyers, expensive lawyers, and Harvey Specter is the lead guy, and they do okay. So they find something on someone, and they're not doing anything illegal. They're genuine lawyers and play by the book and everything. But they say, you know, I've got this on you. I'm not going to pull it out on you now. I'll do it when I either need a favor from you. So it's not really blackmailing, but it is actually playing your cards right.
No,
it's perfectly legal too.
Before I expose an extremist or fanatic, I give them a chance. Like when I say I'm going to
apologize.
When I say I'm going to sit on this information for a year, I'm hoping in this year he's going to change, not for the sake of me having this info. I want to see him change. I want to see him act like a proper human.
But don't you think he's going to think that, he's blackmailing me?
What blackmailing? I didn't even send him a message.
No, but he knows you've got it. You've got something on him.
I haven't approached him with it.
Right. Right, okay. All right, fair enough.
I haven't approached him with it.
Right.
And I have it because the victim sent it to me.
Right.
And I did nothing with it. And I assessed his entire year attacking people, doing bad things, continuing the corruption. So I said, this guy, how do we deport him?
Right.
Daily Mail wrote an article. The guy voluntarily, out of shame, packed his bags, went back to Iran.
Right. Now, this is a hot topic right now because your Twitter is through the roof. And what is your problem with Ilhan Omar?
Ilhan, a personal problem.
What's because she married her brother?
No. Personal problem.
Right.
To be honest with you, my lawyer doesn't want me to speak about this in detail.
Fair enough.
But I can tell you what the deposition has said.
Yes, I read the transcripts that you uploaded. Quite interesting.
Yeah, basically Al Jazeera attacking me, Middle East Eye, The Intercept, Al Jazeera Arabic, all Qatari funded, all Qatari state-sponsored channels, news outlets. And that's it. Character assassinating me, defaming me, and so on. So I express myself, I defend myself.
Right.
That's my problem. It's personal, yeah. Many people will think, oh, so it's not ideological. No, it is ideological. I'm also against extremists. But this is not an obsession with her. No, I have a personal problem with her.
Because you know that she has an agenda which is not in the best interest of the American people, or what American people believe, that why we're voting her. But
I'm doing Americans a favor.
Of course you are.
I don't vote in America.
No.
I'm doing them a favor.
So have we... I mean, there are two aspects of it. I mean, you obviously go after the extremist radical Muslims because you see that's a threat, and you take responsibility for it because, you know, in a sense that you wanna be a reformist. You want to improve the Muslim world and all the problems that we have. Kind of like, I mean, it's not a white guy's problem, it's our problem. So there are two aspects in this Ilhan Omar saga. She could be just defending the interests of Qatari government, which is, again, within itself is something highly unethical, probably treasonous, if you're running for Congress. And B, she could also have hardcore, radical, jihadist agenda, in which case, you know, like something like Al-Qaeda or something. So
no, I don't.
No, you don't think that is the case. So I'm saying, when you say extremist, how far do you go? How far do you take it? I mean,
I would take it as someone who would want to have Friday prayers in the White House if she could. You know, things like that. Like, you know, what she did was, this is what really bothered me with her. She lobbied for 9 ISIS recruits in Minnesota to get a lighter sentencing.
ISIS recruits?
Yes, it's on the FBI, the Fox News, it's everywhere. 9 ISIS recruits she lobbied for. There was also a legislation, I believe, in the Minnesota House of Representatives where they wanted to block would-be terrorists from obtaining life insurance. And she voted against it. So she's done certain things that have really bothered me. I don't know, maybe she thinks it's a human rights issue, maybe she's influenced, maybe, you know, she has an agenda, I don't know. Maybe she knew the 9 guys, I don't know. But I don't think she's a member of Al-Qaeda. I don't think she's affiliated with them. No, she's not a terrorist.
Yeah.
And sometimes I am defensive of her. As much as I disagree with her, at times I find myself defensive of her. Like, I don't want people to say she needs to be shot or she needs to be hanged. I sincerely, and you know, many people might think I'm just saying this to appear reasonable, but no, I really would not want to see her harmed. Because...
So you want to see her tied?
No, because the moment anything happens to her...
You'll be the primary suspect.
I know. So, no, I don't want her harmed in any way. And this personal problem, if she leaves me alone, I'll leave her alone.
But do you think, I mean, I could be wrong.
But I will not leave care alone, and I will not leave the Muslim Brotherhood alone.
Okay, right.
When I say leave me alone, in the sense that you can't go around getting media to fabricate lies about me.
Or try to get you banned, or get you Twitter banned.
Exactly. So I will continue to criticize you because you're a public figure. And you cannot get the media to fabricate lies about me. That's what I mean by leave me alone, I leave you alone. Well, I leave you alone in the sense that I will stop tweeting about you every 2 hours.
But wouldn't you say that, well, I'm coming after you? Well, actually, she hasn't directly come after you. I mean, you've always said that.
Can she?
Well, obviously she can't, but she's got deep connections, allegedly, in Qatari government, so that they can hire people. There was a CNN journalist you mentioned who approached other media outlets in America to not to take you on air or something. So they're coming after you, but they're reasonably thinking they're only coming after you because you've gone after Ilhan Omar initially.
No, I've expressed my opinion, and this is a free world. If she thinks she's still in Somalia, that's not my problem. In America, I can speak about anyone I like, from the president to the queen to the imam and the mufti. I say whatever I like.
Didn't that all start from her statements about, and Linda Sarsour was probably her predecessor, which actually became world famous, about her really outrageous views and hijab and her problem with Trump. Isn't that what got you interested in that? How she was taking on Trump and trying to be a victim and all that? And you started, some people would say you started intimidating or maybe trolling her as a result. They go, whoa. And then now it's just blown out of proportion. Now it's just blown up in everyone's faces.
Linda is a very charismatic person. And she's well-spoken, well-read. And when I find an extremist that is well-spoken,
you go after
I give them more attention than the extremist who takes 5 minutes to put one sentence together.
Yeah. So that's why you never go after Dava guys.
Nah, man, who is
You sure you've seen some videos?
no, these fools.
Well, Ali Dava, maybe. Anyway.
No, man, no. Linda, she's well dressed. Yeah. She knows how to handle herself. She is she's the Barbie of extremism. You know, back in the day, these jihadis used to walk around the West wearing dishdashas, long robes. Now they're in Gucci and Armani and suit and tie because that appeals. They're blending in. So I find that to be a threat, I find that to be deceiving, and I speak against them. But in no way do I want Linda harmed. No, I wouldn't want her harmed. I've actually, this might come across as weird or concerning, but I'll say it in any case. I did once upon a time send a message indirectly to one of these women when I was notified of something harmful coming towards them.
All right. Well, Ilhan or Linda, you don't want to tell?
One of the two.
Right.
One of the two, I got a message sent to them indirectly. And it was mainly an issue of an invasion of privacy. So, someone had gotten into their systems and they told me. So to do the right thing, I informed them. Because if I go to war with you, I want to go to war honorably. I want to take your public statements and expose you based on that. I don't want to go inside your personal life and do that. That's not who I am. So
that's not very jihadi of you.
You know what I mean? Like it's not who I am. Like I believe even if I am at war with someone, I will still speak to them.
Right.
I will still speak to them and I will still have dialogue with them. This is how the world functions. This comes from being diplomatic. You have diplomacy, you know how to speak. We're at war. And the mature people, they don't understand the concept of don't speak to them. No, what do you mean don't speak to them? I'll speak to anyone. I'm against all Islamic extremist imams, but I'll happily speak to any of them. Unless it's Osama bin Laden or some idiot like that. But if these radicals who are radicalizing people, I'm more than happy to speak to them. Because that's how you change people. It's about, fighting and clashing with honor and dignity. That's what I do.
Imam, you and I, we both know that even in this country, we've got mosques upon mosques upon mosques where they're giving khutbahs full of hate, full of, it's always us versus them. We, the Muslims, we're the good ones, we're the better ones, and these kuffar, stay away, don't mingle with them. All that. We know that this is happening, and I'm sure you've spoken to probably a lot of think tanks and the politicians and all these people. why do you think, is it political correctness still on steroids, that it's just not, they're not listening or they're not doing anything about it? We're seeing event after event, all these people who end up doing these lone terrorist attacks, the one in London or whatnot. He was influenced by Anjem Chowdhury, and it's just a matter of time. A couple of days ago, we got the conviction against those 4 people who were going to blow up Federation Square. So these things are happening, and these young men are coming from somewhere. They're getting influenced by someone. So why is there something happening behind the scene? Is government doing something about these imams or this hate?
No, nothing.
Zero?
Nothing. No, the only government I can think of is Austria, where they expelled 60 imams linked to Turkey. This was last year.
Right. Yeah, Austria did that, yeah.
I recently also met with the ambassador of Austria in Hungary.
I think I saw the photo. You put the photo up, or you put the photo up?
I didn't put the photo of this one. I take many pictures with these government officials, but I don't post them for
their safety.
No, for less headaches.
Right.
You know, for me and for them.
Right.
But I think they're just not experienced. Not experienced.
You're talking now about Australia?
Yeah, no, in general, Westerners,
world.
They're not experienced. They don't understand.
They still think it's racist.
Yeah, they don't get it. Like, this guy really, if you were to be killed and a Muslim was to take your position as Prime Minister, they'd be happy and celebrate. They'll say, no, how come we go to their mosque, they love us? I say, yeah, you go to their mosque because you want votes and they want positions. They want to be in power, they want connections with government to influence other Muslims. But if someone was to kill you and a Muslim would take your place in government, they would cheer it.
Mm. Now, this is again a disclaimer. See, when Imam talks about it like this, he's obviously just talking about a radical extremist Muslims. He's not talking about, for example, someone like my mother who's just an ordinary Muslim. So this is one of the things where, I mean, this is how bad our society has become. It's so polarized that unless you give a disclaimer underneath every sentence that I don't mean all of them, or I didn't mean them, I meant them. You know, like, I mean, people don't use common sense about it, and
I think
you obviously don't care about it.
I've reached the point where Twitter gives me limited characters. I'm not gonna put any disclaimers. I'm gonna fire it, and if you get it, you get it. You don't get it, try to understand. If not, you have a different agenda. You try to twist my words. Go twist them, and good luck.
Now I want to. Speaking of twisting, now a lot of ex-Muslim atheists like us, we see that all the different interpretations of Islam. I mean, obviously there's one Quran, and as a Shia, I would believe that you would, I would imagine that you also believe that it's not the full Quran that we have today. A lot of the verses were omitted. I'm not talking about the one that Goat ate the verses. Some Shias believe that this Quran would have been a lot bigger had it not been for the first 3 caliphs.
No, we believe this is the full Quran.
Okay.
Some discussions are around the locations of the verses.
Right, okay, well that's, we already know it's not chronological. So, having said that, so what we believe, that there's so many interpretations. You have a different interpretation. Sunnis have different interpretation. Within Sunni, there's so many other sects. Within Shia sects, there's so many sects. So we think that these are not interpretations. These are basically just. Well, no, I'm not speaking for everyone. I'm speaking for myself. It's just a way how they can rationalize it in an ever-changing world. How are you going to see, for example, apostate example? I mean, I'm sure you can give your view on that. That some people say apostasy used to be akin to treachery. That's why it was okay, and we can understand why they did it back then, but that rule wouldn't apply today. So some of these, we think that that's just like, because the world is changing around you, you are forced to change your interpretation of religion. And to me, that is actually reforming the Islam. You're not reforming Muslims, you're actually reforming the Islam. If it was okay back in the 7th century, why is it not okay to do it today? Aren't we changing Islam? Are we just these interpretations?
Islam cannot be reformed. And ISIS, who was just about to be accepted by the international community.
You think they were?
Believe me, these socialists in Europe who give billions to the Iranian regime, what difference is there between ISIS and the Iranian regime? What difference?
There's a little bit of difference. I mean, they're not burning people for apostasy as ISIS was, and throwing. While they're hanging homosexuals, they're throwing homosexuals.
Iran burns people in private.
Oh yeah.
And they hang people in public. And Saudi Arabia chops heads in public.
Yeah, chop square.
So, what did ISIS do that these people don't do? Both countries rape women in prisons, and they enslave people. There's nothing ISIS did that other Islamic governments haven't done. And these Islamic governments have embassies.
So they're just basically, you're saying they're just more developed.
No, they're just more
developed in the government. Like they've got the embassies, they've got the government, they've got a structure. Whereas ISIS was just
and borders, and ISIS was just a caliphate with no organized structure.
So they could. So you well, actually, yeah. Now that you say, I never thought about it that way. I mean, I always thought I've always despised Saudi Arabia and Iran the way they've run their countries. But I've always thought that ISIS was slightly worse. I mean, I also think that even ISIS was the worst of the worst. I mean, they were even worse than Taliban. I mean, Taliban were pretty bad in their own right. We thought.
Yeah,
I mean, there were slight differences where you can go. I mean, ISIS just broke records of brutality. Maybe because they advertised it, they filmed it.
And they had cinematic videos, and so it made it
very poetic.
The way they aligned people up, and it was very
slow motion.
It was very brutal.
It was very brutal. But you're right. I mean, that's what Saudi Arabia and Iran, they do that behind closed doors.
Yeah.
I mean, they torture people. I mean, they do. I mean, all the women get raped, and I mean,
same thing. They do the same thing, and they both say, "God's on my side. I represent God." The same God, not Jesus or no. Both say Allah and Muhammad is my prophet, and they're happy with me, not happy with you.
So my point was that they're all following Islam in their own mind. They're feeling that this is the right Islam that we're following. And so many other Muslim countries are all thinking, we've got the right one. So aren't these different manifestation of Islam? So when you say Islam can't be reformed, I think the billion-dollar question is, what is the Islam? What is the intended Islam? How Prophet envisioned it? What is that? Who knows this?
Nobody.
So I'm with all due respect.
Nobody, because nobody was there. Who here is alive today?
So why are we? So why are there people who are Muslims then? Because I mean, this is God's opportunity.
No, that's a way different question. First, you said, how do we know if this is the true Islam?
Or what is the true Islam? Just tell me which one is the true Islam.
Everybody thinks look, this is like any other religion. You can't go to the Anglican and ask them, is this true Christianity? What about the Catholic Church?
Well, that's why I'm an atheist, because I think this is why I think they're all man-made nonsense.
That's up to you to decide.
No, but don't you think it's reasonable to assume that? I mean, how could this creator of billions of galaxies is trying to tell humans something, and then we screw it up again after billions of times? I mean, how many times we've had religions? And okay, final time, I'm sending you a prophet. This is what I want you to how to live, and then we get it messed up again. I mean, it's a pretty poor effort by God if he's trying to communicate with us, don't you think? I mean, why? I mean, it doesn't make any sense. Well, I mean, as you scholar and you're practicing Muslim and you're an Imam, I want your opinion on that, because maybe I'm missing something. Maybe there is a seal on my heart that Allah has placed that I can't get it. But what is it?
I don't understand what part you have a problem with. I mean, if I was born as any other into any other religion, I would still believe in God.
Yes, but you are following Islam. You've studied Islam. You've done
Islam is nothing special. Islam is nothing special. Islam is the inheritance of Abrahamic religions. I mean, it's not like it's something new.
Well, it is special to you because you are a Muslim. You're not a Christian.
No, what do you mean? Christianity is also special to me.
Yeah, it's special in its own place. You don't believe Jesus was the Son of God.
I don't believe Jesus was Son of God, because God can't have a son in Islamic.
Right.
And many
right.
Christians also don't believe Jesus is the Son of God.
Yeah, but there are other differences as well,
No.
which you would obviously
What I'm trying
have
to
from
get at is that Christianity as a religion is accepted by us,
Of course,
and so is Judaism.
yes, because they're all Abrahamic religions, so there's no disagreement by Muslims on that. That's a different story, that they hate Jews for other reasons, but they believe in Moses, they believe in David, they believe in Jesus and everything.
And Abrahamic religions believe in one God.
Yes,
Um,
but they don't believe Muhammad was a prophet.
yeah, that's up to them.
Yeah, that's okay. So my point
I
was,
believe in their prophets.
that's okay. So
I believe in their.
we'll assume from that. So what I'm trying to get to is that Islam is special to you because you are a Muslim, you are an Imam, you are educating people. My problem, what I'm not understanding, again, I could be wrong, that why are there so many interpretations? I mean, it's all messed up.
Because
it's
of
messed
men.
up.
Men and too many societies in various cultures, various religions, and many countries.
But do you think it's going to keep evolving? And now we have, I don't know, over 100 sex schools of thoughts or not, or maybe some say
Around
70.
70.
Oh yeah, some people said, yeah, you said 72, 70 as well in your book, I remember. Do you think now 100 years later there'll be more sex? Do you think there'll be more interpretations? I mean, where is it going?
I do believe there will be more, but why are you bothered? Let them have more schools of thought. So what? People want to think.
No, because I share the planet, Imam. I mean, that
They're not all
influences-
coming after you.
No, of course they're not. But I mean, I also care about the truth, right? I mean, I care about, okay,
Firstly, there's no such thing as the truth.
well, there are truths that we can try to get to. I mean, absolute truth or non-absolute
There
truth.
is no such thing in theology as the truth.
Right, so there's no God.
No, there is a God.
That's absolute truth, isn't it?
No, see, you're going somewhere else. What I'm saying is, there is no message that all humans can agree on and say this is the truth, so that you can come and say, hey, stop dividing, and where are you going, and let's try and unite because I care about the planet, and there is one truth and we should follow. No. My truth is blasphemy according to someone else. Someone else's truth is false according to me. These are people who think differently, or let them be.
But
You are part of these schools of thought that you speak of.
okay, so let me elaborate my position. So obviously that's the whole purpose, that how we have been consistently throughout recorded history been improving our societies. We can develop a consensus. ISIS comes around and says, let's bring back sex slavery because it's been going on for 10,000 years. And we as a society, the global society, even the Muslims, even Taliban don't support sex slavery. So we have established the truth that we cannot and should not have slavery in the modern world. So that's what I mean by truth, that there are always absolute truths. Yes, we can't agree upon a certain truth at any given time, but we have gone through so many things throughout the human history where we've established a truth. Okay, this is what we believe. This is how it is, and we're going to go with that. So that's what I mean by that I do care about it. What if all of this, I mean, if we can convince the whole population, let's just do a thought experiment. 22nd century, we have all the people believing that, okay, all these religions were man-made, and we have different, you don't have to agree with me now, but I'm just saying, wouldn't that be, if the whole world believes that, okay, that is the truth, then that's what we as an atheist would probably be striving for. You can disagree with that.
Yeah, I do disagree. I don't believe Judaism is man-made, and I don't believe Christianity is man-made. And Islam is based on these two religions. So no, I don't believe that it's man-made, it's man-interpreted.
Yeah. Okay. Well, as I said, this is why I'm an atheist. I think, okay, that if we believe, we think, and if there comes a point where people believe, okay, it is man-made, but for those people, it would be the truth. That was the truth point I was getting to. And I think as people, whatever the dilemma is, I mean, as human society, we do tend to try to get to the bottom of it.
I'm still not understanding where you're going.
Oh, no, I was just initially talking about the various interpretations, sorry. Yeah,
because I want to answer you, but I don't know
Well, we were talking about that, and then we got onto the truth part. So I was just, my point, I think, is finished. You've answered that. I was saying that where is it going with these multiple interpretations? That
they can go
anywhere they want, right? So
because as an
it's
atheist,
irrelevant.
You don't believe in the day of judgment, do you?
No.
So you believe this planet will come to an end either through natural causes or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay, so you acknowledge the fact that humans are going to exist for as long as they do. And they'll think differently, so you can't do anything to stop them from...
No. Yeah, that's fine. But for that school of thought to work, there would always be other theistic people who influence our lives. As you said earlier about how you could have a different opinion on abortion, or you could have a different opinion on certain moral guidelines, how you would...
Yeah,
so my point was that those decisions influence us. No, but don't you think they influence the politics?
No, they don't. Because I can have an opinion. Which parliament is going to pick up my opinion?
No, but you are also one of the influencers. There are many other politicians who think like you.
No, there's a big difference. Let's get this right. An influencer doesn't always have control over politics. They don't. Unless you're Kim Kardashian and you manage to free some prisoners.
Yeah, right.
Okay? I'm not Kim Kardashian. I'm not going to do anything. I'm going to sit on my Twitter account and express myself there. Some people express themselves with their hair, some people with their,
voice, singing, movies, whatever.
I express myself through my social media. So it doesn't mean I'm influencing anyone.
Yeah, I know that, but as humans...
That's to begin with. Secondly, the politics that can be influenced by theists is mainly... a political system that is accepted by theocrats or well-established theocracies. I don't think you would live in an Islamic theocracy.
No, even if I wanted to live, I wouldn't be able to live long enough.
Yeah, when I was in Iran, people come and tell me, what about this, what about that? I understand, because the opinion of the cleric influences them. The opinion of an imam today doesn't influence anything unless you are a spineless member of parliament in Europe or a spineless president, that the moment a imam says ouch, you say, oh, what happened, let me help you, then that's a different story. But that is not the norm, thank God.
Now, last part of our conversation. So what is your... a lot of people have actually asked me this. What is your problem with Pakistan? Hang on, let me make it interesting. What is your problem with Imran Khan?
No, my problem is with Pakistan. Pakistan gave us Imran Khan.
Pakistan what? Sorry?
Gave us Imran Khan.
Imran Khan, right. I mean, Pakistan gave you me as well.
No. You're very different. I don't know what happened.
There are a lot of... we're going through a surge of radical, secularist, ex-Muslims, atheists in Pakistan.
Yeah, no, I have a problem with Pakistan and the Pakistani mentality. And, I really hope one day that country can change. I mean, if Asia Bibi was going to get killed for drinking from the same cup as Muslims, I mean...
That's pretty
water.
bad. Yeah.
Well, then what happened to the hadith? Oh, one day a person was walking and they saw a thirsty dog and they gave it water, and the Prophet said, because you gave water to a dog, you're going to go to paradise. And the poor Christian lady, people of the book, she drank water, and you want to get her killed, and she was imprisoned for almost a decade, I believe.
Yeah.
What kind of a country is that?
Yeah,
this is a backward country. And the biggest hypocrites. How many people voted for Imran Khan?
They say 2 crore, which is like, what, 20 million?
20 million? What's the population of Pakistan?
200 million.
Hold on.
Yes, 200 million. So half of them, 100 million only, can vote. 20 million, and out of this 100 million, only probably, I think, 40 million people, I think, voted. About 40 million people voted.
Okay, so it's not compulsory to vote?
No, it's not. No.
Only 40 million voted, you said?
Yeah, I think 45 million voted, yeah.
and Imran got 20.
He got about 20 million, yeah.
Okay. So now you have 20 million fools, certified fools, walking around in Pakistan. How come they believe in Allah and believe in Sharia, and they voted for Imran Khan, who slept around in the UK?
But they can
day?
say that, yeah, but they can say that people change, right? I mean,
People change?
People change.
Do they accept that?
Yeah, of course.
What if a gay person now in the prison
Would that,
in Pakistan
that would
says,
happen.
I want to change?
Yeah, but that wouldn't happen in America either.
What do you mean?
A gay person becoming a president. That wouldn't happen.
No. What I'm saying is, what if now someone in prison, in Pakistan, in prison for being gay, says, I've changed, I'm straight now. Will they let him go?
Yeah, they probably will.
They will?
Yeah, well, they probably wouldn't even.
Good luck.
No. Let me tell you, Imam. I think you're a very good friend with Tariq Fateh. I've studied the guy a little bit, but I don't think. I mean, anyway, I don't want to go there. But so Imran Khan, let's just talk about this. Pakistan is a very messed up country. In a sense of what you said about RCB is horrible. Most of my time is actually spent about speaking about the rights of minorities, how they get abused. Christians have suffered a lot. Hindus have suffered a lot. In Sindh, we've got so many instances of Hindu girls getting kidnapped they're not even Islamists, so to speak. I mean, they just, if they want to kidnap a young, pretty Indian Hindu girl who's only 14, 15, they just run away with her and then force her to convert to Islam and then marry, and that's it. And there's so many instances of that happening in Sindh, especially. And then in Punjab, we've got a lot of problems of Christians, and Ahmadis are another one that suffered the most. That's probably the most persecuted community in Pakistan, even more so than atheists, so to speak. I get all of that, but putting the whole blame on Imran Khan is very different, because this is a guy who, he only came to power a year ago, and he actually came on top of these things that the country's messed up. So I mean, I don't want to speak too much for him, because I know there's a lot of crap that happens in Pakistan and has been happening. Did you know that he actually just opened up a sacred Sikh place in Pakistan?
Did you know he wants the Western democracies to deplatform people for tweeting on an American private company about Islam? People like
yeah. No, I know that.
Did you know he threatens to shut down embassies because they draw cartoons?
Yeah, I know that.
So what's the point of opening a Sikh temple?
To
enjoy the food?
No.
Look, you can't pass these on to me.
No, you can't.
The whole firstly, Imran Khan is not the leader of Pakistan.
That's another comment.
The army is the people who control.
No, not really. It's not.
Okay.
It's very.
Do you know who says this? This is actually written in intelligence reports.
Yeah, I know that.
It's been
in WikiLeaks as well. Yes.
The influence of the army on Imran Khan,
we know
is
that.
so strong. He can't even. I don't know if he can spend enough time with his wife without their permission.
Yeah, all of this is exaggerated to a huge extent. I mean, I'm not denying that the army does play a lot of role.
By the way, let me tell you this. It's not just Pakistan. It's Qatar. It's Saudi Arabia. It's the UAE. It's Iraq. It's Iran. It's Sudan. It's Egypt. It's every Muslim country.
No, but Pakistan and Turkey are a little bit different in that regard. They're not theocracies.
Turkey as well. But I have a special problem with Pakistan.
Yeah, which is I'm trying to understand, because I think there are a lot of people that you can reach out to.
In Pakistan?
Yeah.
I don't want them. No, I don't want them. No.
You know, there's a pretty big Shia community that's been targeted there as well. You know,
they are all either with Iran or sympathetic to them. I don't want anything to do with them.
Okay.
No.
All right. So anyway.
No, I like to focus on. I like to invest my time in something that I know 80 to 90% will work and will bear fruit. No fruit will come out of Pakistan. No way. Not me. Pakistan, I will leave it for Majid Nawaz because he speaks the language. Right? I don't have that language ability, and nor do I have the patience. And I'm a big fan of India.
Yeah, I know. This is why I was going to come to the next point. So now I have a lot
I
of.
am a big fan of India.
I have
so
a-
it's not gonna work.
I have a lot of. I have a lot of.
I can't betray India.
I know. No, that's good. I don't want you to betray India. I have a lot of Indian supporters as well, and now I'm going to ask some questions that a lot of these Indian supporters are not going to like. So apologize. My apologies in advance, and you already know what my position is. Now you've said when you were in India. And again, when I earlier spoke, people say that it seems like you're always appeasing the right wing or the conservatives. Let's just say conservatives. And in India, it's Congress versus BJP.
But I am a conservative.
Yeah.
I can't appease myself.
But you're going with BJP, which is fine. There's a lot of good things that BJP has done, and I'm actually quite sold on that too. But I just want to now speak about the Kashmir part. You said Kashmir is the part of India. Do the people of Kashmir, they don't matter at all? I mean, do they?
No, they do.
Does this say matter at all?
They do. They do matter. I didn't say they don't matter.
So when you make a sweeping statement like Kashmir belongs to India.
Yeah, I mean, if people change their religion or change their opinion, it doesn't mean they change the identity of the land. Today we have Palestinians who say we are Muslim and Palestine is ours. The land that is called Palestine, Jerusalem, they say it's ours. Nobody cares what you think and what you say. You can change to Islam, you can change to Buddhism, you can't change the history of the land. The whole of Pakistan belonged to India.
Yeah,
They partitioned.
Yeah.
So what? You want to keep taking chunk after chunk? In a real democracy, Kashmir has to have elections. And they need to choose for themselves.
a referendum.
A referendum, whatever.
Exactly. Then you and I agree.
I agree. But not when Pakistan is trying to influence the referendum.
I agree.
And not when Pakistan has its cells.
I agree.
Okay, so we need to clean up the Pakistani problem and then let's talk about it.
Okay, so I absolutely agree with you. But I just wanted this to hear from you, and I was like, no, he's never going to say it. But you said it in the first 3 minutes of this question.
Yeah.
So why was it missing? Because if you said something like
because
this,
my topic was not about partitions and referendums.
But you got to understand this thing. But when you make a sweeping statement like, okay, it belongs to India, that undermines the two bigger sides of the coin.
You're misquoting me. You're misquoting me.
Sorry.
That's a problem.
Okay, sorry, you said.
I said that I'm a religious person that focuses on geography and history.
Right.
And both geographically and historically, Kashmir belongs to India.
Well, not really. I mean, no, there was
unless you want to go back to Prophet Adam and Eve. But if we want to speak,
Prophet Adam, by the way, landed in Sri Lanka. They have a big footprint.
Yeah. And the Iraqis say he landed in
Maybe Aboriginals have Prophet Adam too.
And the Africans say he was in Africa. You know that, yeah? The first man was in Africa. They say.
Yeah, I know. But,
so who?
But that is true.
So
That's
Adam was in Africa.
Yeah, Adam. Well, there was no Adam. The evolution tells us that humans came from Africa.
Okay.
But anyway,
point is, every country says we're the ones.
Yeah. My point was.
Does Pakistan say Adam came by or anything?
No, they actually don't say that. But what they do say that Allah has a special connection with Pakistan, which is like everyone says, like Superman is American or God is with America. You know, like the same kind of shit works everywhere. No. My point was, so when people say. I think I could be wrong again. I apologize if I misquoted you. I remember seeing your tweet as well that when someone says that Kashmir belongs to India, because there are two sides of the coin. The two arguments are: one, India says that it needs to stay with India. The second part is that okay, the people of Kashmir have a right to determine. And as you just said that okay, if it's free and fair, you would rather want people to decide. Now, speaking geographically or not, I mean there were only two times when India was actually united India. It was always princely states. I mean, who decided to call it India? There was a time when it was called Hindu. It was Hindustan or India that was like called by Westerners. There was no actual India, so to speak.
Does this also apply to Pakistan?
Yes, of course. I've got no problem with that. Pakistan was a part
of this whole thing.
Yeah, it was a part
So what gives Pakistan, if it was part of this whole thing, any claim over another part of India?
It doesn't. No. But exactly. So that's not my position. You're misunderstanding my position. My position is whatever the people, the native people of that land want, especially after 72 years have been going. And I think you have already answered that. The ideal situation would be that.
We both know there's no such thing as independence in that. Pakistan would rather a referendum so that they continue to control Kashmir. it's going to be a very dirty stronghold for Pakistan, and India doesn't want that to happen. That's the main reason.
So those are the things that are happening. So I mean, at the end of the day, then the people there are actually suffering. So they will keep suffering.
They're suffering because of Pakistan.
Well, no, it's not just that. I mean, they're native Kashmiris as well who've rebelled against India. You could say that, okay, well, they're being given weapons, or they've been fueled by Pakistan, which there's a lot of truth in that too.
I have a question for you.
Yeah, sure.
Do you agree, if it wasn't for Pakistan, the issue of Kashmir would have been much less problematic, and probably they would have reached a solution by now? In the last 7 decades? 7 decades. Yeah.
No, I don't think so, because it depends on what the actual... Even I don't know what the actual people... Because I don't buy Pakistan medias that, Kashmiris want to be with Pakistan. I don't buy that nonsense. I don't buy that Kashmiris want to be with India as an integral part. Because the truth would be, whatever it would be only we can find out when there are legitimate polls by international UN or international organization, or there is a genuine referendum. Only then we'll find out. As a humanist, that's where I draw the line. Let the people... Scotland, we had elections, a referendum there. I mean, civilized countries behave that way. They don't say, okay, we're going to bomb that and we're going to send our armies there because someone else wants that. Whatever the natives want, I mean, surely, especially after 72 years, I grant you that Pakistan has done a lot of dirty things in there, where they fueled the militant movement in there. Up until the 80s, there was actually no militant movement. They said that after that.
I personally believe.
Yeah, sure.
I personally believe, if it wasn't for Pakistan, the issue of Kashmir would have been solved by now, or at least wouldn't be this bad.
What would solving would have meant? Like being, okay, we're happy to be with India?
Either happy to be with India,
or be independent,
or we're safe, we're not going to be a stronghold for jihadists or Al-Qaeda. And they would either be independent, support by China, or whatever. You know, there's still a lot of industry and
fair enough.
So I believe so.
That's a fair assessment, because, as I said, Pakistan has done a lot of dirty
is
things.
an obstacle, not only in Kashmir, around the world. They are a problem.
Really? They're not that bad. They're not that. You're giving them too much credit.
No, they're the biggest problem, probably in the region. Yes, and whatever Tariq Fattah says, 100% right.
No, he's all right.
100% right.
He says a lot of loony things.
No,
he says a lot of loony things.
If you go deeper into what he says,
I know deep.
100% right. Give me one of his statements.
Tariq Fattah's statement
that you say is loony.
He once said in an interview on India, he once said that Imran Khan got into cricket because of his military connections, so military one day could plant him as a prime minister. He said that.
But that's a valid opinion.
So 40 years ago, army made him a cricket star, so one day they could plant him as a prime minister. 40 years. You know how many generals came in between?
Do you know the foreign minister of Iran? He was sent 40 years ago to study in America, so one day he can become the foreign minister of Iran.
Maybe one of them. But no.
Most regimes do that.
No. I think let me tell you something. Pakistanis are so inept in doing anything, they can't plan anything more than 3 years.
Okay.
Pakistan's army. You know how many generals came in?
He said it. Pakistan cannot plan anything for more than 3 years.
Yes, of course. Everyone knows that. You know how many generals and how many times the dictators came in that 40-year period? General Zia, General Musharraf, and there were like 7 other generals who were the... don't you think that after 8 different generals there would be, okay, we might want this guy, we might not want this guy. That is such a loony thing he actually said, and there's so many other things that he said. And I don't want to discuss him, but
no, that's a valid opinion. Could be right, it could be wrong, but it can be discussed.
Imam, seriously, I don't want you to actually.
I'm not being biased.
No, because
that's how our governments operate.
Because that sounds a very loony thing to say. I don't want you to actually hold that opinion. That's
not my opinion. Yeah. I just heard of it now.
Okay.
But I do know of government officials sent abroad to become celebrities and educated, and then brought back to Iran and Iraq to then rule.
But you know what?
The last 3 prime ministers of Iraq were British citizens. They sat in office, they were British citizens. In Britain, they were celebrity-like. And now they became prime ministers.
But Imam, the craziest thing out of that is Imran Khan it's not something like someone says, like, okay, I'll make you a cricket player, so one day I can use you for my purposes. I would have to perform as a cricketer as well. He played a sport at a high level. He also happened to be a great cricketer as well. Yeah. So Army also knew that he's going to turn out to be a great cricketer as well. I mean, it's just so outlandish. If we go by that conspiracy theory, then I think everyone is planted there. Maybe you and I are planted by the Zionists.
I am definitely planted.
By the Zionists.
I am definitely planted.
So I think this is the problem. So we can't go. So
they planted me from Iran when I was born.
Right.
They chose me and they brought me to Australia, and then I went back to study.
Actually, you know what? I have actually seen some YouTube videos where people are saying that, okay, it's actually some hardcore Sunni Salafis are saying that this is actually, you're still an Iranian agent and this is just a facade. You're trying to play lovey-dovey. And on the other side, some people say that you're actually a Zionist agent. So my point is, Imam, seriously, how far can we go if we let our imagination run wild? So with Tariq Fateh, I don't know. I don't want to discuss it. But anyway, I think we spoke quite a lot. I mean, there's so much more I wanted to talk to you. It's been such an honor and pleasure to meet Imam Tawhidi. As I said, we're so close, and he travels the world. He's spoken to every ex-Muslim out there is, and then today, after I think 2 or 3 years of us knowing each other, he's finally spoken to me. Imam, thank you very much for giving us your time.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you.
Thank you.